For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. The storyline between Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes is still ongoing and will be throughout the rest of the college football season. This week, many non-supporters of Deion and the team finally had something to talk about after Colorado's huge loss to Oregon, which would be their first this season. In regards to the loss during Saturday's post-game news conference, Sanders said,
"It really surprised me. We played like hot garbage. That surprised me. I didn't expect that. That was good. I mean, that was a really good old-fashioned butt kicking. It's not just the kids. The coaches are accountable too. We are all accountable. Let's start with me. We're accountable for this. It's not just the kids. I know I have on shades, but I can see the future, and it looks really good. So I'm excited about it. I really am. One thing that I could say honestly and candidly, you better get me right now. This is the worst we're going to be. You better get me right now."
Now, in what has become a common occurrence, the team opposing coach Dan Lanning from Oregon has some choice words for Deion and the Buffaloes. Before their match, Lanning insinuated that his team was made of substance, as opposed to the Hollywood flash of Sanders in Colorado.
The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins. There's a difference, right? This game ain't going to be played in Hollywood, it's going to be played on the grass. Right? It's going to be played on the grass.
Of course, when Sanders caught wind of Lanning's comments, his response was to take the high road, similar to last week when Jay Norvell couldn't help but criticize Deion. In response to Lanning's statement, Sanders said,
"Yeah, I got messengers. God bless him, though, man. He's a great coach. He did a great job. He can take their shots. They won. I don't shoot. I don't do that. They won. Say stuff just to say it for a click, you know, contrary to what some may say. But, I keep receipts."
Now, after the game, Lanning switched up his tone and had this to say about Coach Sanders.
I think Coach is doing a phenomenal job. Obviously, he's brought great enthusiasm and response from his players, and I know that they'll bounce back from this game moving forward. On the same note, I get a little passionate at times, right? I get a little excited about what I want to accomplish for our team, and I just want to say I need to humble myself a little bit. This is one game.
In addition to this, Sanders also mentioned that the difference between his Colorado team and Oregon was not talent. People around the country will say this is what they needed to humble themselves. We wasn't arrogant or whatever. We're confident people. If our confidence offends your insecurity, that's a problem with you, not us. We expect to do well. We just didn't do it today, but the loss wasn't something that was needed. Those who have been against Deion all season long used this time to take their chance to talk. There was no shortage of white social media users who couldn't wait to see this team fail. One user would write, "Colorado's effing worthless-ish. They aren't living in anyone's head. They just got put in their effing place, plain and simple. Dan Lanning is Deion and his thugs henchman's daddy. Another week of taking Black History BS classes to maintain a 1.8 GPA so they can be eligible." Another user would respond with, "Coach Thug and Colorado Buffaloes football getting that a whoop today at the hands of Lanning in Oregon. And it's a great thing to see. Black culture F's black people up, and people perpetuating that BS like Prime is disgusting. Saban's successors list, Cristobal Lanning, Utah's head coach, in that order. Coach Thug Prime was bragging in the past games they are the best. They got punched in the face today and will the next 2 weeks." Finally, one tweet that would get everyone riled up was, "Oregon is taking a stand for all of us." This one comment would earn over 22 million impressions on Twitter alone. And many who responded would wonder who's the us she was talking about and what stand they were making. Now, after the game when Deion was asked if he had a message to his team after the loss, Sanders said,
"Get your butt up and let's go. We ain't got time to have no pity party. There's nobody walking around the locker room with napkins and tissues. Get your butt up. Let's get on that plane. Let's go. We got work to do."
These words from Deion come right before another big matchup with USC, which according to USA Today, is a team that the Buffaloes haven't beaten in 16 tries, dating way back to 1927. Joining me again to further this conversation, which I'm always excited, is our very own John Abba.
Oh, man. I promise y'all, I'm not trying to take over the show. I'm just passionate about this topic.
And I appreciate you being here. Yeah. Let's dive in. Let's start with, some of these racist comments. People calling Deion a thug and just taking the time to really air out how they feel online. What are your thoughts and reactions?
I mean, they were waiting. Just simple as that. They were waiting. Some people probably had drafts ready of just what they were going to express. It's funny because like people have maybe felt that I was critical of Deion, so I was getting like messages like, oh, "Okay, John, here your chances now." And I'm not on that wave, but in terms of these white football fans that called him Coach Thug, and they were waiting. They were waiting. We've seen in history when it comes to our men, in terms of like Muhammad Ali, Jack Johnson. Anytime a brother got a little bit of confidence about himself, it doesn't always is received with open arms, nonetheless. So yeah.
Yeah, and I find it crazy that a lot of our people are also jumping on that bandwagon of pushing up against him in such a strong manner. Like it's one thing to just have a feeling about the situation, but when you're criticizing him in the way of calling him names and all these things, it's like this black man is doing the things that we say we want to see. He's being a representation of the things that we want to see. But here we are.
It could be kind of. I mean, like I said in a previous episode, Deion warrants that type of energy because he's confident. Like, just take away color for a second out of it. Anyone that's like confident that walks into a room with a certain air, you just like, man, I don't like them. You kind of like, it kind of warrants that if you have insecurities for sure. And I think that's something that we're going to talk about with a caller in terms of Tariq Nasheed.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's hard to take race out of this because we actually did a report on a caller that called into Tariq Nasheed's radio show, and I want to take a listen to it to get your reactions. So let's take a listen.
So I want Deion to market everything he can and make every dime he can.
I mean, it's not just that. It's just the whole thing. It's all about. It really is. There's no other program.
I swear, y'all hate to see a competent black person who ain't bowing down, who's winning. Why do y'all hate that so much?
Because it makes us insecure that we can't do it the same way he can.
Thank you. Thank you. But that's a you problem. At least say, I'm glad you're being honest. But that's a you problem.
I know, but when we see a black man shining, it just like tears us down because that's like all we have left is the coaches.
I know that, but it's a you problem. There's great things that you can do within your community. There's great things, man. You guys got volleyball. You guys are phenomenal at volleyball. Y'all got that.
Also, we have badminton.
Hockey, all of that stuff, man. Don't feel bad. Don't feel
bad.
Ever
since Tiger Woods changed the game in golf, we've just like been reeling from that. All we have now is curling.
I know. I know. Y'all got wrestling, the wrestling competition. You guys are good at that.
Now I know you actually did that report as well, right. So I know you're very, very well equipped with what exactly happened with that call.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to it initially?
So hearing that, it's refreshing. Because it's kind of like, these are things that we feel, but sometimes we may not like distinctly know. But to hear someone admit that, it's like, okay, like, dang, okay, someone said it. He like kept it real.
Right.
So I saw a lot of people responding that way. A lot of black folks like, damn, I appreciate his honesty. Because in this country, it does feel like we are oftentimes shut out of opportunities. We're oftentimes like not given certain things because how we carry ourselves. But what was eye-opening about that and just thinking about this part of our conversation is, so who are the black people they do allow to get in, right? And I think that's eye-opening, the black people that we do see on camera, the black people that we do see on in different roles and positions. And oftentimes they're not like, people that we might elect or want.
Correct.
And so it's very interesting to see how that dynamic works, which is why I'm always pushing for us to keep it in-house so we can have that type of control.
So do you think we should just limit ourselves? Because here the thing is, we're in America. Like that's just a fact. It's just a fact.
For sure.
And majority of the businesses, especially when we're talking about sustaining what America is, they're not black owned.
Right.
So are you just saying that we should keep ourselves solely within our communities and not expand past?
I think we touched on it before, but it's a different mentality that we have to have. And we have to maybe separate ourselves mentally.
Okay.
There's a game that I think is to be played, what you're getting at the end of the day, majority of the businesses are not ones that we own. So I do think there's a little bit of like understanding that like even our business, we have to kind of work with everybody to be able to like be a sustainable business. At the same time, I think that there needs to be a level of code, at least attempting to do business with each other, attempting to kind of keep it in-house. And so those are things that I push. At the end of the day, we are businesses, we have to make certain decisions. Deion's a business. He has to make decisions. But again, it just comes with the irony of, man, what would have happened if he kept it back home to avoid some of the conversations that we're seeing now shift in his direction?
Well, let me be clear. I'm not saying play the game.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that culture, because I think that's when we find people that are in positions and we're like, they're not a real representation of what black people are. So I'm not talking about playing the game, but I'm saying if you do go get an opportunity, let's take Deion, for example, because when you say like staying home, I'm guessing you're talking about him going back to Jackson State.
Well, yeah, my consistent stance is definitely been Jackson State. But even if he went to another HBCU, I think that would have been like cool on my part. So it doesn't have to be JSU, but it could have been another HBCU, because to my point, they said that Deion made Colorado $90 million in the 3 games that they played. Now, Deion's contract is worth $30 million for 5 years. Already he showed the level of value that he brought to that school. Now, my whole fighting stance is like, damn, I wish he would have done the same at home and kept it at home, because we need our soldiers, we need our people to be able to do for ourselves and be able to help build us up. I think that's been the irony of when it comes to great black talents, is that we're the ones that help kind of push the black talents forward, and then they say that white media or white America plucks them in a sense.
Yeah, I don't know. That frustrates me to hear like, oh, he should go back. He should have stayed. He should have done this. It's like, but look at what he did do in the time that he was there.
Right.
In 3 years, he has done more for a HBCU than people have done in their lifetime.
Right.
But it's the same people online, because what I will say, even though you feel like he should go back to Jackson State, I will say I respect that you still see the positive in what he's doing right now. But to the people that are just so hung up on, oh, he should go back to Jackson State. He should have stayed at Jackson State. He should have went to another HBCU. In 3 years, he's done more there than a person has done in their entire lifetime, or in what you're currently doing when you're taking the time to put out these tweets and all this. My thing is, if we're saying, oh, hey, we want better for our people, we want our people to excel, but then the moment our people start to excel, we're like, oh, well, not like that. I don't want you to do it like that. Because if people really felt like, oh, I want us to keep it in-house, I want us to make sure that the black community is good, then the dollar would not be staying in our community for 6 hours. It would be much longer than that. Because the same people that are saying that probably have on Gucci. When we've seen time and time again, Gucci have shown that they're not for us. They will create things that appeal to us and make it, put all these black people on their campaigns. But then when you look at the back end, what money are they giving to black communities? But here you have Deion Sanders, who's not only adding value to those black players that are there, but the representation in real work that he's doing. Like you said, in history, the target that has been on black men's back as a father, as a person, we heard the woman saying, no, shut up and dribble, like all these things. He's showing there's so much more to him. And for me, there's so much value in that. And when people stray away from seeing the value in what he's doing, going back to, oh, well, you should have did this and you should have did that. It's like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You sitting at home tweeting, that's cute, but what are you doing that's going to really benefit and move us forward? Like that just...
I think to what you're saying, we seem to have our agreeable points, and at the same time, we kind of like defer. I do think that, we shouldn't be satisfied with just Deion in 3 years, because I hear you say that a lot. It would have been great. Why not 10 years? Why not 20?
Well, why are we
why
never
not 25?
satisfied? Why?
Because
if he's come there in 3 years, not only did he make an impact while he was there, getting new facilities, bringing them money, I think it was over $185 million. In addition to, they have an Under Armour deal that is still active today. I was literally just on their Instagram, which I'm sure most of you have not gone to go look at, and you still see the Under Armour behind them. So why is 3 years not enough? Why do we keep saying why?
Because we need more.
We'll never be
help.
Satisfied. Jesus came on earth and changed the world, and people still are unsatisfied.
I think
it's like
that
people just want to be upset. If he was there for 10 years, people would still be saying the same thing.
And I can agree with that. Some people would still be doing the same thing.
I
think that's just the nature of the game. If I'm on that side of just like wanting to see black people keep it in house as long as they can, then that's just so be it. That's just the beat that I walk.
So in-house is at a HBCU.
At a HBCU.
So the benefit that he's making to these other black players that are at Colorado, to what we're seeing how he's interacting with his son, and it's impacting the image of black men, because we know what media does.
He could have done that too at HBCU.
But did he not? Because
That's what I'm saying.
the conversation that we're having at Colorado, because take away black and white, which we're going to get, that's going to be next, but let's take away black and white, right? Jackson State is a smaller school than Colorado. Correct. But Jackson State has also, because of Deion, been on ESPN, which before they had never and probably would have never.
Correct.
So he did a phenomenal job. Great job, Deion.
So
now he's on a bigger platform as a coach because he wants to excel. So you're saying, bump your goals, bump what you want to do, stay at an HBCU, and we'll be happy with you, Deion. We're only going to be happy if you stay at an HBCU.
Well, it's not me per se. I'm just more so of what I would do. So these are my answers on what I would do. It would be great if he would have been able to, again, he made $90 million for Colorado. His contract is worth $30 million for 5 years. Now on the back end, who knows if he's aligned with some of the money with the merchandise. But the overall theme is that black people that are great are constantly used for other organizations. And that hurts. That hurts that we can't keep our best. That's what I'm trying to fight for, is like the essence of keeping our best home. Why do we have to constantly kind of like see our best go to other places and build their ish up and then do different deals and at what point can we step up to the challenge? You know?
That sounds cute, but again, when we look at the numbers, take away Deion, what are we as a community doing?
Right.
Because the power is in the numbers. So if we truly did feel that way, then the statistics of where the black dollar goes would not be what it is today. So for me, I'm saying it's just, to me, it's hypocritical to say, oh, well, Deion, you should have did this and I would have did this. It's like, no, but you can do things now that are going to keep it in-house.
Right.
And not you, because I know we're big on like supporting black-owned business and things like that, but just critics that are constantly like going at it. And it's like, but what, like, I'm always going to go back to, but what are you doing? What are you currently doing? And I guess that goes to my next question when we're talking about race, because I think you have one side of black people that are saying like, oh, hey, he should stay at an HBCU, keep it in-house, so starting there, and then you have white people now that are coming out and saying all this like, Coach Thug and, all these things. Do you think it's truly a racial thing?
I think so. I mean, let's talk about the tweet that the young lady put up.
Yeah.
She said that Oregon is taking a stand for us all. And hopefully you guys are seeing this tweet right now. And, everyone was like, well, who us? What you talking about? Who the us? That didn't really read right. And I looked at the young lady's page, and she didn't really elaborate more than that. She kind of left it at that. And I thought, it was interesting she kept it up. But I do think that it's a racial thing, undertone there. Think about the Montgomery Brawl. That was like a real live race war that happened. Yeah, there's an undertone there. Yeah. And I think it's always been an undertone there. I think it's like a quiet war.
Yeah.
It's normally I think racism is very quiet, but we feel it every day instinctively. That's why when the white boy on the call with Tariq said, yeah, y'all trying to make us insecure, was like, damn, I know I was feeling this. Because the majority of us don't probably engage with white people and talk to them like on a daily and have conversations, and that's something that can even be explored too. But I do think it's like a low-key undertone when it comes to black people excelling. Yeah. Like, who does it offend,
Yeah, and honestly, like, I know it's gonna be strange to say, but I love it. I love seeing these white people go online, like, make your mark in history, because the internet is a thing that never dies. No matter what you try to do, it's always gonna be reoccurring. So I love it. I encourage to keep making these tweets, because I love when people show me who they are. And being able to see these people, it's like, oh, good. Like, that's what we need to hear. That's what we need to see. Because when you go on and pass and your lineage continues, is this the history that you want to write? And that's what I'm challenging our people, because I think staying black and supporting black looks more than just one way. Again, I always go back, we always talk about how we're not a monolith, but then we're always saying like, oh, well, you should do it this way, or this is the definition of staying black. This is and it's like, no, but there are so many different ways. So my challenge is like, are we going to step up to the plate and be like, you know what, Deion, I wish you would have stayed. Some people, I wish you would have stayed. However, I'm going to back you, though. Because what you're doing is still beneficial to our people. And I think, for me, that's just, like, my overall message. Is like, you're still doing so much.
And I agree. And that's something that I think I've said before, is that you need Deion, and you also need, Dr. Cosby. You kind of need...
tweet?
I ain't checked the tweets yet. I kind of gave Dr. Cosby. I was waiting for you to have your moment. I thought he was gonna be like, I told y'all. I thought he was gonna light him up.
Yeah.
We still looking out for it. But I was just to kind of answer and ride on what you were saying. You know, I think Deion is important in terms of, again, the image that I'm seeing, the conversation that he's starting. But interesting enough, our whole stances keep going here, you know, and so in true Deion fashion, we got some keep going Deion shirts that are now going to be dropping at thehypemarket.com. You should be able to see it on the screen. And I think it exemplifies, like, you know, regardless of the losses that may come, regardless of the criticism, regardless of the hate, regardless of the doubters, that Deion, you have done a phenomenal job in the theme of someone that is looking to create an impact. Whether your path was different than what others wanted, we still encourage you to keep going because we do see the good in your success. So that's what the shirt is going to exemplify for us. You can get it now at thehypemarket.com. It should be up on the screen. And you guys, if you want to continue to support Deion, this is the path that we're going to kind of do that.
He even had the shades that popped off crazy.
Yeah.
I think over $1.2 million or something like that they
Yeah.
sold. So yeah, he's definitely
So if
making
y'all
waves.
supporting Prime with Colorado, I'm going to hold y'all. Y'all can support Prime and some support when it comes to Comedy Hype, the Comedy Hype News Show and Hype Plus.
So are you jumping on the Deion bandwagon, or like where are you standing? Are you with him or are you not? Like I want a definite like.
When you ask, that's a loaded question.
Okay, I won't call it a bandwagon.
But I'm saying, is it like Deion to win? Is it Deion like as a person? Like, what are you asking me?
So you separate the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm not like crazy into football and sports, so I'm not like on that part of the path.
Right. Deion as a person and what he's doing, how he's moving and adding to the culture, to Black culture specifically.
I think so. But I also, you know, I kind of understood that that's what it was going to be when it comes to his representation. Mm-hmm. So to answer you, I definitely support Deion. Now, at the end of the day, I keep saying that I don't agree with his move, but I would never talk bad about a Black man doing what he feels best is for his family. You know, so there's other layers that we just don't know. Yeah. And I think that I can't also go back on my word. I think Deion has always been a winner and he's going to continue to succeed. And nonetheless, I think he's won. You know, that's what we told him already on a previous show, that you've won, you've done your thing. And to the haters, AKA the white racists, y'all gonna be big mad for a long time. Y'all gonna be big mad. And I do want to note that, you know, not every white person, I'll put a disclaimer,
Absolutely.
ain't really on some like they want to see Deion fail, because even the process of putting this show together, I seen some white people still big up Deion. Yeah. So we're not saying that this is all white folks' feelings, but we are saying that some of y'all is wilding, you know, because to call that man Coach Thug, you know,
it made no
and to kind of put that out there, I'm sure it felt good, but I think you just mad. You know, like the great poet Cameron said on Fox News, you mad.
You know, and I want to touch an agreement there. I do think it is good to say that some white people and some white media, because I did see people responding to Carrie Steele saying like, you know, whoa, who are you referring to? Who is us?
Yeah.
Don't include me in that. So I do think that's important.
Well, yeah,
it's two sides.
Because I think the elephant in the room is that we dominate. We dominate. I'm gonna really, really stress that. And like Deion has mentioned before, if you're insecure, my success, my dominance will make you feel some type of way. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the problem, or that is what's going on when it comes to our plight in Black America. Again, I asked, what kind of Black people do they allow to push forward? Think about those they're comfortable with. You know, I've always wondered, why is there only one Denzel in terms of like movies or Idris Elba Denzel? Right. When there's so many Black men that got their look together, that can act, that aren't pushed to the forefront. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand that this is what's going on in our society, that they don't want you in the door because you're gonna take their job. Mm-hmm. That's traditionally how it has happened. When you go on Fox News, they talking about the Spanish people taking regular jobs and tripping because it makes them insecure, because maybe we do a better job at it. Maybe we are qualified to lead. And I really think that we're just built to dominate. Now, they have to ask themselves, you know, what is the greater good of it? You know, do you jump on our bandwagon and just ride the wave and let us take this country and this world to other heights? That's the real talk. You gonna let us lead, or you gonna continue to hold on to the power because you're insecure of what would happen? The biggest fear they have is that they think we're gonna flip the script and do them like they did us. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. Black folks, I'm about to give them the game. We don't want to come at y'all and put y'all in bondage and slavery, but we do want y'all to get the F out our way. So, you know, with that being said, don't fear black success. And a lot of times they used to say pro-black is anti-white. It's not. It's just that I'm proud of who I am. And don't let my dominance scare you. You're not my enemy unless you continue to present yourself as is. If I'm a train and I'm nonstop, the only time I'm gonna hurt you is if you stand in front of me. So that's why I say y'all need to get out the way. And it's gonna be all good. But if you continue to put yourself in that position, you're gonna be mad for a very, 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 very long time.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think black people should use this also as an opportunity to step into who they are as a people unapologetically. I love what Deion, like, he continues to talk and he holds himself accountable.
Yeah.
Like the way he came in that press conference and just held himself, his team, and his coaches accountable, that's what we need to add into our community. So as you had a message for the white people some white people, because we're going to say some. I do think that's important, but also I think it's important for black people to see the value in yourselves, know who you are, know who we are. And when we talk about this country, yes, black spaces are very important. I will always push to support black-owned businesses, black-owned establishments, not even support, patronize, put your money where your mouth is, but also to don't be afraid to step out into these spaces that they say where we don't belong, because this country was built by us. Not for us, but it was built by us. So everything that's here is ours. So I love it. I appreciate you so much for joining me today.
For sure.
Now, I'm going to end with this. You had your quote earlier. I have mine, since we're on Comedy Hype. Now, because, you know, Carrie Steele said that Oregon is taking a stand for them all. So my question to the audience is, where do you stand? And then the words of the great Bernie Mac, who you with? But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let us know down in the comments below what you think about the white racists criticizing Deion after his loss. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Keep going, Deion.
Keep going, Deion.
Keep going.
Hey, I'm on the Deion wave.